Good morning. You're listening to WIFO FM in Jesup. Big Dog Country, 105.5 FM. It is now time for the world-famous Butch and Bob Show, and it's brought to you by O'Quinn & Associates, Murphy Builder Supply, Van's Barbecue, and First Southern Bank.
Are you looking for an insurance company that you can call and talk to a live person? Are you looking for an insurance company where you can walk in and talk to an agent? Are you looking for an insurance company that offers multiple companies so they can try and get you the best rate? If you said yes to any of these, then you need to call or come by O'Quinn & Associates Insurance Financial Services. We offer multiple companies so we can find the best fit for you. Give us a call at 385-1000 or stop by our office at 212 South Fair Street right here in Jesup.
Since 1946, Murphy's Builder Supply has been serving the folks of Jesup, Wayne, and surrounding counties with quality products and knowledgeable service. Matter of fact, they feel they sell service first to make sure you get exactly what you need for your home improvement projects. And with each employee at Murphy's being there for 10 years or more, you know you're talking with someone with the experience to help you with building supplies, tools, paint, and all the things you need from a full-service hardware store. The best choice in home improvement is Murphy's Builder Supply, 156 Northeast Broad Street, Jesup.
When it comes to barbecue, Van's Barbecue in Jesup is the place to be. A small family-owned business located at 1876 on the Savannah Highway. Van's Barbecue has lunch and dinner specials. Stop by or call to make an order. The number to call, 427-3358. Van's Barbecue's new manager is Sarah Van. Van's Barbecue offers potato salad, coleslaw, baked beans, and don't forget their delicious mac and cheese. Also, check out their shrimp plates, the best in town. Yes, when it comes to the barbecue, head to Van's Barbecue, locally owned and operated. Stop by and tell them the Big Dog sent you. Once again, the number to order, 427-3358.
Hi, I'm Raymond Brown.
And I'm Mandy Yeomans. At First Southern Bank, our customers are like family. As a locally owned community bank, we're dedicated to helping our clients succeed.
We have loans for every need, whether it's personal or business. We have lines of credit, auto loans, equipment loans, and of course, we offer mortgages. Stop by our bank or call us at 912-588-1010 and see how First Southern Bank can help you.
Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
The following is an exclusive presentation of Jesup Broadcasting, the sports leader in Southeast Georgia.
The world-famous Butch and Bob Show.
World-famous Butch and Bob Show right here on WIFO. 105.5 FM, Big Dog Country Radio. Well, Bob, the Bulldogs going to be invited to the White House, huh?
Yeah, they finally put the pressure on Sleepy Joe, so we got an invite. So that's good.
I guess maybe our senators called up and said, "What are you doing there, Prez?"
I don't think it was Buddy. It must have been the other.
No, I'm thinking Ossoff and Warnock did that. Yeah, you would think.
That's good. Glad they're going to get invited.
Yep, it's good that they're going to be able to go to the White House. And, I mean, two back-to-back national champs. You need to be there. Last year, they said, well, you can't come because of COVID. A lot of folks are saying they just kind of fell through the crack or something. I don't know.
He invited the Braves. Golden State Warriors have been there. So
yeah, the Braves went there, Golden State. And so who knows? But I'm glad they're going. It's a great honor for the for those kids to be able to go up there and get into the White House and be awarded by the president. No matter who the president is, it's always good to get recognition from the White House.
Yes, they say there's a lot in there. I just like listening to stories of how people take stuff. Like they take M&Ms or they take napkins or. Listen to celebrities talk about their trip to the White House. They all got to take something.
Or something, huh?
Well, maybe he's never been to a.
Hold on a second. Here we go. We don't have your mic on. Go ahead.
Well, maybe he's never been to a college football game. I hadn't been to one, but they're very cool. Did you know when they win, confetti falls from the ceiling? It's awesome. Maybe if he'd have gone, he would have been more apt to invite him to the White House.
Yeah, well, I think usually handlers do all that. The president's got his mind on other stuff. Usually handlers set that up, and they said it just kind of fell through the crack. But now they're going.
I'm just glad they're going. That's good.
That's good. But, Bob, we have a special guest in the Butch and Bob show this morning.
We got County Commissioner Jamie Hickox in there. Appreciate her coming in. Like I said, everybody's invited, but I want to be with last Thursday's Butch and Bob show because either I said something that upset you or Boo Thomas said something that upset you because you came flying up here and wanted to be on the show. So, who made you mad?
I wasn't mad. I just wanted to spread some information. I thought, well, if we're talking about Jamie, let's all talk. I had no idea Boot was coming. I would come with him.
Well, you came up here and you didn't speak to him. You just came in the door.
First thing I said was, how you guys doing? And then I asked to get on your schedule.
You got on the schedule?
Oh, yeah, I did, and I'm here.
Wayne County Commissioner Jamie Hickox here wants to, be able to respond to some of the things that Boots said last Thursday.
Did he say something that made you upset, or did I say something? I'm just trying to.
You didn't say anything,
Bob.
You were just asking.
Everybody in Wayne County knows you are my best friend.
Okay. Well, let's start with several items I want to talk about.
Sure.
One thing the county commissioner's been discussing is the term limits. So that has to be approved by the state legislature, and then would have to be voted on by the people. So why do the commissioners? It's hard enough to get people. I mean, I want term limits for people in Washington D.C. national, but locally it's hard to get people to run for anything. So why is there urgency by this commission board to talk about term limits?
I think that came about from knocking on all those doors. I think as a whole, people have lost a certain amount of confidence in government. And the biggest feedback, well, we had several feedbacks. One of the biggest feedbacks was term limits. People stay in government too long, just too long. And we thought, well, if you bring it up at the first get-go, and then you move forward. And then we took it up to the state, and they suggested that, hey, why don't you take that to the people? Sounds like a great idea. And if that verbiage in that term limits succeeds, the longest running commissioner in Wayne County will continue to be a commissioner if voted in until he's deep in his 80s. That was not it wasn't a dig at anybody. It was, how can we repose confidence for the voters in the government? And if that's what you want to see from us, I'm not defined by a title of county commissioner. I'm defined as a citizen of Wayne County. I'm a lover of our community. If they want to see some term limits, shoot me out and let's get somebody in here who can do it. If you need to roll over and go a different direction, I'll support you.
Explain what the proposal is. I mean, what are y'all proposing?
Oh, three terms. Telfair County, that was mentioned last week. They have their only county with term limits, and they have 8 years. The pushback there is, what you don't understand, what I did not understand, was as soon as you're elected, you go to school. There is an organization called the Association of County Commissioners of Georgia. And the moment you're elected, you start going to school. I have been to, I think, we tallied it up, over 40 hours of schooling.
All the elected officials like that.
It's only
state,
February.
Law enforcement, county, you have to go learn.
You got to learn. So this costs the county money. So Telfair County, they have their limits are 8 years. This would be a 12-year limit plus any 2-year. Like I was voted in on a 2-year term because they were staggering. So if there's 2 years, so you could 2 years in between, if that's the way it votes through, you could possibly be a commissioner 16 years on that. I don't know if that is too short, 14? But it just seemed extremely.
If you have three terms,
yes,
12, that's
but
12,
if you have a 2-year in between, who knows what those circumstances are? But it just seemed, if people want term limits, that seem very reasonable for both the person who is running and serving the community and the community at large who seeks term limits.
Well, a lot of people feel that the term limits is done by the voters. If they don't want you back in, they won't vote you back in.
I've never heard anybody say, you know what the problem with government is? These people don't get to serve long enough. I just said by no voter ever.
We've had some people serving a long time.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Shag Wright, they finally voted him out. They voted him out on a write-in ballot. So I'm like Butch. Locally, if they, Tim Hopkins said it best. He's been knocking on doors. They said, if you don't do a good job, we're going to vote you out.
There you go. Take it to the voters. If the voters are not interested in that.
It's already in the voters' hands when the election comes up.
Well,
so what are you saying? You're saying it's going to be voted on by the voters?
Yeah, it's going to be on a referendum ballot. If they don't want that.
When will that be?
November. If they do not want that,
what else will be voted on in this November?
It does.
An odd year.
It hasn't been. That ballot hasn't been finalized. I don't know what else will come up. Possibly a SPLOST.
Yeah, the SPLOST is either November or March. So when you think they can negotiate with the cities of Scriven, Odom, and Jesup to get that on the
I think that's coming up. I don't think that I'm on that a negotiating team, so I don't know who's doing the negotiation there. Everybody has a superpower, and I don't know that that my strongest suit is negotiation. So I'm a really good cheerleader and community proponent. So I'll kind of stick in that lane.
Well, one thing you will decide is what the money's going to be used for. And there's a lot of discussion. Like I said, we talked about the last meeting. They talked about this courthouse security. They're not in favor of the courthouse complex for $42 million. You're in favor of community center. I've heard courthouse security still on the agenda for the SPLOST. What other things do you think the money will be used for?
I know that the Public Facilities Authority has met twice since the beginning of the year. And that's a very positive force because you get outside, you expand that. It's not my five and no more. You get other outside influences, and these people are embedded in business, and they're very educated, and they're very dedicated to the community. So on those agendas for the Public Facilities Authority has been courthouse security and pool. I haven't heard any talk of bonds to get loans for a community center or a courthouse. It's more along the lines of how much will this SPLOST produce, how much will the county get, and how best is that money spent so that we could build on or expand out. Good, better, best. Don't overextend or cause debt.
I have a question on the term limit thing there. You're talking about for the county commissioners, but would that also be like for the sheriff, judges, and other county, just county commissioners?
Just county commissioners.
No other county officials?
No other county officials.
All right. I've had some people ask about that, so I just remembered that. Okay.
Another topic's been discussed, the election board. Explain the election board. I mean, they keep talking about election. I've been covering elections in Wayne County for over a long time, 40 years, but I've never seen an issue with the local elections. And they keep talking about is there a problem with the person who oversees the election board?
Not at all. Everybody, we are so blessed to have Judge Thornton, who has done just an absolute excellent job.
What's her role going to be if the election board comes? Because I heard
she doesn't want to do it anymore. You know, that's a lot of pressure. After the whole election integrity issues surfaced, can you imagine the pressure? You know, is it paid well? The poll workers make $7.25 an hour. She made it known, not this year, years past, that she does not want to do elections anymore. And I've heard that by 2025, legislation is going to come down where all counties have to have an election board. I don't know that's true, that you hear things in.
Well, how does it work? I mean, each commissioner appoints somebody to the board. I mean, what's an election board? What's it made? What's it comprised of? Explain it to me.
Who and what's their responsibilities and duties?
There are. That is up to the commission. What we did on this election packet was research election boards from 10 other counties. We took the information that that looked best on theirs. We called them. What works, what doesn't work. There's a thing, a working board and a non-working board. It seems that non-working boards have a larger success rate than working boards. They seem to be prone to lawsuits. But it is a compilation of the best of other boards, put it together and send it up to the state legislators.
I wanted to go back to the community center. Like I said, that's something you've been talking about for a long time. Mm-hmm. How much does a community center cost, and where do you see it being, and what else is going to include?
Well, I've asked several groups about where would we have a community center. Well, it turns out they've already have space dedicated for it out at Bill Morse Park. I did not know that, but now I know that. That seems great to me. I've reached out to several communities, and I haven't heard any pushback about a community center being.
You know where the location is?
You know where the Ben Park complex is?
Right.
And then kind of back behind it is the soccer fields. Up at the road, there's
where the mud bog used to be.
The swath of land there, that is where I was told the community center would go. It's already been in the plans for that to be there.
What kind of cost are we talking about?
This is one more thing where it would be built onto in layers. So the first layer of this is a competition pool. A citizens group made a presentation to the facilities board at the last meeting, And they went on their own, reached out to U.S. Swim for real numbers for an aquatic center here in Wayne County. It was very impressive, and from that last week, a group of 6 members from Wayne County, including some commissioners and the acting administrator, went to Baxley and to Douglas both to see their facilities because they're both brand new facilities. I was there. I put it out on social media, tried to film what it was and the cost of it. This is something that needs to go back to the people because at the end of the day, they're paying for it. One of them was just an outside facility which couldn't be used year-round. Beautiful. That was in Douglas. Beautiful facility, but that had a splash pad attached to it, and then attached to that was a miracle field, which I thought was amazing because it was a special needs field, and they have a special needs baseball league. It was amazing. The other facility we went to see was in Appling County, their new aquatic center. Now, theirs is enclosed. It looks like a huge greenhouse, and then the roof slides down, and then there's sliding glass doors all around it for airflow. Beautiful facility, been open for about 2 months, so they get to use theirs year round. So they had spring break last week. They had spring break last week, and their facility was being used.
And
the
what
entire
all
time.
is in that facility there in Baxley in Appling County?
It is a competition pool, and then it L's out, and it has an arm for special needs to get into the pool. It's got a graduated entrance. It is heated. They can do aquatic therapy. They have a schedule on the wall 2 months out. They have hours for open swim. They have.
So it's mainly a pool.
It is just
mainly
pool.
a pool. Okay.
That center is just a pool.
Okay. And I've said for many times, it's one thing to build the pool. The question's the upkeep. So the school system's got a swim team. So you said you've been just talking with the superintendent about who's going to pay for the upkeep after it's built.
We have been talking to the superintendent, and he's very positive. But I can't speak for what the school board is or is not going to do, but it just looks like it's going to be a very positive, cooperative relationship because the school wants to facilitate their swim team just like Wayne County wants to facilitate their swim team. We have a lot of talent in our community.
Well, I'm just saying, are they going to be able to agree on the cost for the upkeep? That's what I'm.
Oh, we're all Wayne County. Of course, we're going to agree on the cost. That's our only hope. Of course, we are.
Got to work those details out in the future once you get us approved for the facility, huh? Okay.
Let's go back to the first meeting of the year, the 3-hour executive session. So some people want to know, like I said, Ed sent in his letter of resignation, want to fill out the term. People ask why not just let him fill out the term? Why pay him $50,000 to walk away?
I think the bigger question there is why would a board of commissioners bind another board of commissioners for a 4-year, 6-year contract? Why would you do that? Our code clearly says one board cannot bind another board. People you voted for who you wanted to represent you. How well could you do your job here if you weren't surrounded by people who support you in your vision to do your job? It's exactly the same thing. There's structure and communication that was strained, and the former administrator tendered his resignation. He tendered his resignation.
I know, but
we accepted it and we moved on.
But he first sent out a letter of resignation, said he's going to fill out the term. Some people say the $50,000 was a waste of money. Why not just let him fill out the term? So that's the question I'm asking. Why not? We just have $50,000 to just hand to somebody?
That's not a question for this board. That is a question for the former board. Why in the world would you contractually bind a board when your code says you're not supposed to? That's the $50,000 that the county have to absorb there that's a question for the former board, not for this board.
How about kicking Tyrone Johnson off the board? Why was that so urgent? Why not just let him fill out the term? Because Boot was here saying that that's a possible lawsuit. I don't know if that's true or not, but I know Tyrone Johnson, I'm sure he keeps coming to the meeting, so something's up in the air. So where do you see that going, and why was that so urgent to get him off that board?
Checks and balances. It's just checks and balances.
Meaning what?
Meaning what? You have a liberal voice. You need a conservative voice. That's all. Checks and balances.
Why was it so urgent to get him off Why not let them fill out the term?
That is a very
Just go into the meetings.
powerful board. You know, they spend all of your TIA money. They spend your grant money. That board is critically important to Wayne County. You need checks and balances on everything. Don't let Jamie Hickox alone in your kitchen with your cheesecake. She's a great gal and she's funny, but eventually your cheesecake is going to be gone. Everybody needs checks and balances. Me, you, everybody. That's all it is. What is best for Wayne County? It's Wayne County's money. Let's put some checks and balances on there.
How do you see this board moving forward? Like I said, because it seems like it's, there's dissension there between.
I don't see any dissension.
You don't?
No. I see this great big
you don't
positive
see the 3-2
movement.
votes?
Let's go over the great things that are happening in Wayne County. Look at the volunteer fire departments. I mean, we're in the survey process right now. Do you know that there are citizens in Wayne County that had their insurance premiums go up by $700 in 1 year? Do you know how critically important these volunteer fire stations are for them? We are 2 months in the survey process. We've got numbers to construct buildings, and we have the money sitting there to pay for them. This is a win-win. That is a positive.
Are you going to be able to find the volunteers? Like they talked about the generation gap. Young kids just don't seem to be interested in becoming, they talked about it at the county meeting. Tim Hopkins brought up, it's a generation gap. I mean, you got all the old timers who do it religiously. They're passionate about it, but where's the young people involved? If you're going to build these new stations, are you going to be able to staff? It's just like anything. You can't find people to work anywhere.
I think it's a communication for the next generation. I just don't think we found the key yet that what drives them. Will we? Of course we will. There is a problem all over with staffing, but there are, that's necessity is the mother of invention. We don't have a choice on that. We have to man these fire stations.
The most alarming thing at the county meeting came to me was the EMTs. I mean, the fact that we don't have enough EMTs and enough ambulances to cover the county.
That was that one came from the work session. That was amazing moment of government, because a work session is a little less formal and people just get to talk, and all the players were in the room, and the EMS director was able to talk and just converse with the acting administrator, and we did a deep dive into policies and procedures, and it turns out that months and months ago, maybe a year ago, the county commission had voted for them to have 2.5 trucks, which means 24-hour trucks is considered one, and a 12-hour truck is considered a half. So they had 2 24-hour trucks and a 12-hour truck approved. But we were only running 2 24-hour trucks. So we have to do nothing except say, hey, let's go out there and get this 12-hour truck on the road. And as far as the EMT goes, there's another beautiful communication that happened right here in Wayne County. It turns out that our EMS director reached out to our hospital and said, hey, we're having issues getting folks hired and trained as EMTs. And they sat down and had a conversation. And the hospital reached out to our college, who reached out to our school system, and they're developing a program. EMTs have to be 18 years old. Well, most high school seniors are 18 years old. They're developing a program right now to put in the school system where the last semester of high school, these seniors, not everybody's going to go to college. They can be certified EMTs by the day they graduate. They can come right on. And if they do part-time, if they just work in the summer, if they just work holidays, if they just work weekends, that alleviates the pressure on these full-time EMTs. Speaking of full-time EMTs, they were under the understanding that we weren't allowed to hire full-time EMTs. We went through the policies and procedures. Well, as a matter of fact, we can. So now we can hire full-time EMTs and get them the benefits. So that is a win-win for healthcare in Wayne County. And it's one more beautiful partnership that the Wayne Memorial Hospital facilitated. They are a jewel to our community.
I agree, but most people just want to know when you call 911, somebody's going to show up.
Exactly.
But I was just shocked that they said they don't have enough to cover Wayne County and that so many calls are being transferred to somewhere else. So, I mean, that was just an eye-opening experience. Sitting there at the work session, I had no idea that was taking place in Wayne County.
For all of us, and it is fabulous that it could be that was that quickly rectified. We have paramedics that are overworked. We just have a lot going on because our paramedics now work a 24-hour shift and then 24-hour on call. Well, during this whole restructure process, we've got to move that. You can't. Do you want somebody working on your family member 40 hours into a 48-hour shift? That's not a best practice. If we can bring on full-time EMTs, if we can schedule paramedics in a way where they are fresh and ready to respond to the needs of our community, that is a win for all of us.
Is a full-time EMT a person who works 24 hours straight, or is it 12 hours? Do you know?
I do not know.
Yeah.
I can't
imagine
imagine
working more than 12 hours. That's usually the nurses, in hospitals and other places like that work 12-hour shifts. Each place have a 12-hour shift.
I bet somebody's going to write in to us and give us the answer to that.
So I didn't know which one that was. I think you would have two. If you had a full-time truck, for 24 hours, you'd have two 12-hour shifts, I would imagine. Okay.
Again, if you just joined us, Jamie Hickox in the studio, County Commissioner. I'm going to go back to the courthouse security. I mean, one thing I thought about, this is my proposal. Right now, Sheriff Mosley and Perry Morgan are working well together.
Yes.
I mean, this narcotics unit they got is making a dent. They're making a lot of drug busts. So my proposal is to move the Sheriff's Department in over with the police department and then have all that there where the Sheriff's Department is now. And they already got one courthouse there to secure. Why not use this, build the courthouses there?
Well,
and use the current courthouse, the one that everybody wants preserved. Why not have that as the voting place when people go vote, and just put that as where they vote instead of going to Hall-Rich and Recreation Center? It's right there in the middle of town. There's all elections, keeps that building vibrant, keeps it purposeful. Has that been discussed at all?
The Facilities Authority at the very last meeting discussed movement. And I think that they are going to reach out to county departments and see if a movement is possible. You mentioned Sheriff Mosley, so I have to give a huge shout out to Sheriff Mosley. He reached out to Wayne Memorial on his own because he's going over budgets, and he was looking for cost-saving measures when it comes to the jail. The jail is very expensive for us to operate. Well, he and Joe and Greg got together, and they have come up with a program that Wayne Memorial Hospital, as of March the 1st, will start being the pharmacy for the Wayne County Jail. And they also have a 3 months overview meeting to see if this really is the cost-saving measure that the county was looking for. One more area of cooperation. Kudos to Sheriff Mosley for doing that, and we can't thank Joe and Greg enough for being so supportive of our county.
Well, you requested the time. I said I've pretty much gone through my notes, so what did you want to discuss?
I have
Anything
a whole
in particular?
list.
Go right ahead.
I have a whole list of things. So, the pool we talked about, I am so very excited. I'm excited for the citizens to reach back out and say, this is what we want. Citizen involvement is the key to a successful government. There is a citizens oversight group that comes to all the county meetings, and they are very clear with, your code doesn't say that. Have you reached out to anybody? I don't think that'll be popular. I don't think that's the priority of the citizens. So to keep our perspective straight, I encourage everybody to come to county commission meetings, and they're also on a live feed through It's About Wayne. It's a Facebook page if you do social media. Please reach back out to the county on the swimming pool. What is it that you want? SPLOST, what is it that you want on it? The negotiations are going to start, and I think SPLOST really was created to alleviate the burden on the property taxpayer. That's the point of it. people should be involved on what capital projects that money is spent on. The volunteers fire stations, that is huge, and I think those will be moving forward very, very quickly. Commissioner Gordon, I love saying that, Commissioner Gordon. Commissioner Gordon is taking the lead on that one. He's very passionate about it, and I think that will come to fruition very quickly. The Public Facilities Authority. I'm excited to see them get to a point where they can put out a public buildings, a capital project maintenance program. There's confusion about when things are maintained. The courthouse itself was, how long was the plastic in the windows? We should know a long time in advance. That maintenance program was lent to us from the school board, because they know years in advance what building is going to get a new roof and when they're going to get HVAC systems. That is a good. Then they get to appropriate money for it, and everybody knows in advance. That's a positive. There's a group of citizens who are volunteering to come in and help us with our policies and procedural manuals. If you don't have policies, you don't have structure. It is so easy when something comes up. What does our policy say? What does our policy say? The county itself is financially stable right now. I would very much like to see taxes go down. For that to happen, we have to plug holes in the bucket. But the taxpayers have been extremely patient with the county, and they're ready for some relief. I know it was said that 4.5 of the 5 mills have been taken down from the 5 mill increase. There is a rollback rate. I don't think that painted the full picture. I don't know of anybody whose tax bill has been, when you look at it now compared to 2 years ago, is 37% less than it was 2 years ago. But it needs to be. People have to have relief. Inflation is crippling everybody, and they have to have a government they repose confidence in. They have to have a government they can reach out and communicate with, and they have to have relief of their tax burden.
Yeah, one final thing. I don't know why I forgot this, but the search for county administrator, how long is that taking place, and what do you think the timetable is going to be, and what are you looking for in a county administrator?
February 28th is when it closes. I know that we have received 7 resumes right now. Those haven't been opened, so I don't know. I don't know about that. I'm super excited for that because this is a lot of hard work. This is a lot, and I have to give kudos to Amanda Hanna. She's a worker. You drive by the county building at 6 a.m., she's there. You drive by the county building at 7 p.m., she is there. I can respect hard work, and she works. I think everybody is excited for an administrator to come in and carry a lot of this load, because it is a heavy load.
She's already said she's not interested in the job.
No, asked her first thing. No, she's not interested. But she's been here for years.
Right. Okay, well, I appreciate you coming in. Like I said, we invite all elected officials to come in the show, but appreciate you coming in.
I'm so glad you let me come.
All right, Jamie, have a good day. All right, the world-famous Butch and Bob Show, Wayne County Commissioner Jamie Hickox, our special guest this morning on the show. WIFO-FM in Jesup and the world-famous Butch and Bob Show, brought to you by O'Quinn & Associates, Murphy Builder Supply, Van's Barbecue, and by First Southern Bank.